What is up, guys? It's Vase Take. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave movie recommendations down in the comments below. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite horror slashers that came out in the 80s, Sleepaway Camp, which was slept on for a really long time. Sleepaway Camp follows a group of kids who are on this camp, and one by one, certain individuals are being killed off for being mean people. And so we are following the killer, and in the end we find out who is behind the camp slashings. So the movie starts off with this little girl named Angela. She is a kid, and she is with her kid brother Peter and her father John. John is also being accompanied by his lover and boyfriend. The four of them, they are all spending time with each other out on a lake, and there is also three teenagers who are riding boats on the lake as well. It's this teenage boy that was driving the boat, and his girlfriend is begging. She's like, can I please drive it, please, please, please? And they also have a girl on the back sailing, and so the dude is like, okay, well, since we're the only people in the water, it should be fine for you to drive it just for a little minute. And so old girl, knowing she has no business behind the wheel of this boat, she gets behind the wheel, and then for a cartoonish amount of time, she is not looking ahead of her, as the girl behind her is trying to tell her, like, there is people ahead of you. And the girl is like, what? I can't hear you. The boyfriend isn't on the boat. It's just Peter, Angela, and their father. Their boat ends up capsizing, but it's not like it's not a terrible time. The family are just all having fun, laughing about it, and they are trying to swim back to shore. However, when they are trying to swim back, the teenagers strike them with their boat, and Peter and John die, and this is left to be witnessed by Angela and the boyfriend. So then 8 years later, Angela now lives with her aunt, who is very weird and eccentric in like a very Johnny Depp kind of way, kind of crazy, kooky. And the aunt is supposed to be a doctor, which I'm like, hello, what? I would not want her to be my doctor. But anyway, she also lives with her aunt's son, Richard, her cousin, and the two of them, they are going off to a camp. So as all the kids are running on the camp and settling in, it's employees watching over the kids, and this weird chef man is looking at the kids, and he's like, yeah, there is a bunch of baddies here. And this other dude is like, you talking about kids? And he's like, I don't care, there's no such thing, it's too young. He's just looking at all the kids in a very predatory way. Richard is showing Angela around the camp, and he tells her about this girl named Judy who he used to talk to or date last year. And there is a rumor that Judy has blossomed. She's growing up. And I do want to point out, at this point in time, Angela has not spoken. She's very shy and timid and awkward. But Angela, every time I watch this movie, I'm like, Angela is really beautiful. Soon after that, we see Judy, who is talking to a bunch of guys, and Richard says hi to her. He's like, what's up? And she just curves him, and he's like, damn, I guess I'm just not good for her anymore. Angela just so happens to be bunked in the same cabin with Judy and this girl named Meg. And I'm not gonna lie, Angela was staring mad hard at Judy, and Judy is like, girl, what are you staring at? And Angela just still stares at her without speaking. There is eventually some concern about Angela because 3 days go by. She has not said anything to anyone, and also she has not eaten, and this is frustrating this girl Meg. So this man here, Ronnie, is like, okay, well, I'm going to take Angela into the kitchen to see if there's something in particular that she would like to eat. Ronnie leaves her with the creepy, perverted chef Artie. Ronnie doesn't know, I don't think, that Artie is a weird pervert, but Artie leads her to a back room where he is about to assault her. Richard, noticing that his cousin is missing, he goes to look for her, and when he goes into the kitchen, he sees Artie in the room with his belt unbuckled, and so he's like, what the fuck are you doing? So then Artie attacks Richard, and he's basically threatens to both of them, like, don't say anything or else. And so Angela and Richard, they run off, and mind you, Artie comes out buckling his belt up. this is noticeable to all the other employees, but they just not pay attention to like what the hell is happening. 2 kids running away and this grown-ass man is buckling his belt up, and he just tells them, he's like, oh, I scared them. And then the owner, Mel, is like, yeah, I guess you just scared them. Like, no, you just tried to sexually assault Angela. So then later on, Artie is in the kitchen by himself trying to put some corn in this big ass pot, and we see this unknown point of view sneak up on him, and basically he was on a stool. They yank his stool away, causing him to lose his balance, and so he grabs onto the pot, which pours all over him. This is boiling hot water, and it tears his flesh straight away. It just takes his skin right off, and good for him. He deserves that. Mel, the camp owner, is the type to want to keep everything a secret. Anything that could lead him to have a bad reputation, he wants it to be under wraps. And so he's like, hey, to the other chefs or the other cooks, he's like, you guys are in charge now, and I'm going to offer you guys a pay raise if you just keep cooking and don't tell anyone about what happened to Artie. Just say that he left and found another job. Don't say that his skin was just cooked off his face. It bothers a few people that Angela is not very talkative, including a few boys who get mad that she's not speaking to them, because I think that they see it as kind of rejection and they're being assholes. One thing I could say about Richard, her cousin, is he does not play. Every time he sees someone picking with his cousin, for one, he knows how fragile she is and everything that she's been through. So every time he sees anyone picking with her, he quickly runs for a fight. He don't give a fuck. And so when he see the 2 boys messing with her, is on like Donkey Kong. Let me skip that. Let me take that shit out. No way I just said that. He starts fighting the both of them, and it takes like all of the other camp boys to try to break it up, and Mel is watching this from afar. He just don't care. He's just like, okay, whatever. Then this other boy named Paul comes up to Angela, and he's way nicer, has a way nicer approach, and this is witnessed by Judy, who is not talking to one but 2 dudes at the same time, which is nothing wrong with that, you know, but she got 2 dudes attention. But that isn't enough, because her seeing Angela talk to just one guy, that bothers her. And there is just something about Paul that inspires her to talk. And so for the first time being on this camp, she says goodnight to him, and this really makes Paul happy. It don't take long until we get our second kill. So one of the dudes, one of the 2 boys that was picking with her because she wasn't speaking to him, he is out on the lake, and he's caught lacking by himself. And so while he's in the water, we see someone else pop up from the water. We don't see anything but their hair that's just wet. And so he is looking at them, and he's like, just wait until the other boys get a hold of you. Too late though, because he is then drowned. The next morning, Ronnie is upset because the campers done left the outside by the water a fucking mess, and he's in charge of cleaning it up. So he's upset, picking up shit, throwing shit. He sees the canoe. When he opens it, or when he flips it over, he notices, oh, it's a corpse. The dude's body is rotten under the canoe. And again, Mel is like, this is another accident. This is a drowning accident this time. Just by seeing his body, you could tell that was not no damn drowning accident. But he's like, this is an accident. In the meantime, Angela is more comfortable being at camp and speaking, and so she's talking to Paul, and this annoys Meg and Judy because they're playing volleyball. However, Angela doesn't have to play volleyball, and it bothers them that she's able to talk to Paul while they have to exercise, and they like shoo Paul away, and they are teasing Angela. Eventually, she goes to watch a movie with Paul. It was like a group thing, but she goes to see it specifically with him. And after he escorts her to her room, he kisses her twice. And each time, she's very awkward and is stiff. And she's like, okay, I gotta go to bed. And yeah, I just don't know. It's like the campers just had this weird obsession with Angela and her not speaking, which is very questionable. But Meg goes up to Angela and she's like, hey, do you want to go for a swim? Angela's looking at her like, bitch, like she's crazy, not answering. And she's like, answer me, do you want to go for a swim? She gets so mad at the fact that Angela is not speaking to her that she puts hands on her. Like, that is the craziest thing ever. Maybe for me to get under people's skin, I need to just pull a Angela and just look at them like anyways, Ronnie has to come intervene because Meg is just going crazy. Angela is back in the cabin. Judy gets mad at her because she's like, you got Meg in trouble, even though she never provoked nor told Meg to put hands on her. And I'm not gonna lie, this little scene, Judy ate this little 1-2 up. One of the most iconic lines in this movie is when Judy is like, she's a real carpenter's dream, flat as a board and easy to screw. Like, damn, girl, that's kind of creative, but if anyone is easy to screw, it's definitely you. And she just notices like how Angela doesn't take showers with the other girls, and she just overall being a mean person. Oh, I forgot to say, I had saw this TikTok comment that had me weak. They had made an edit of Judy and they called her the oldest teenager out there. Again, like I said, Richard is always down for smoke every time he sees that there are people trying to fuck with his cousin. Again, she is going minding her business to look for him, and a group of boys, they're on a roof and they throw a water balloon at her just for no reason. And so he's just like, get down here, fight me. He's not saying fight me, but he's like, get down here, like, you got me fucked up. Why would y'all do this to my cousin? You know, oh my god, you know that sounded a bit like, please don't mess with my cousin. No, I don't play with my cousin. Just know that I'm finna jump in, cause I do not play by my cousin. What did you say? And that's literally that sound is him. He is that sound. One of the dudes that was involved with throwing a water balloon at Angela, he is taking he's using the bathroom, and someone secretly locks his stall with a broom, and then they throw a wasp nest inside of his stall, and he dies being attacked by a whole bunch of wasps. Now listen here, 3 times is crazy. You got 3 bodies in a span of few days. Mel is like, my camp is ruined. They are gonna close my shit down. I might as well just pack all these campers up because there is no way I'm coming back from this. And he's like, there is a whole killer on the loose, and he has a seeking suspicion of who it is. At the same time, Angela is at the water with Paul, and they start making out. It's very awkward. It's not non-consensual, but it's not a fun time, you know. And while this is happening, she's just having these flashbacks of her when she was a little kid. Her and her brother would like sneak and look at her father being with his lover, and then it was like a montage of, first is like Angela, then Peter, then it switches to Peter to Angela, and they're in bed. It's like a very a lucid, creepy nightmare that we're seeing. And while she's thinking of this, it kind of causes her to freak out, and so she's like, no, get off me, and she runs off while he was trying to make out with her. So then the next day, Paul goes up to Judy and he's like, hey, did I do something wrong? And he starts touching her again, and she's like, I'm just not ready, can you not? And he gets upset and he's like, what's wrong with you? You know, there doesn't have to be anything wrong to not want to be touched. So she walks off, and here comes Judy. This is her time to shine. And she's like, hey, she might not be available, but I am. So they're all in the middle of playing capture the flag. Richard goes to Angela and he's like, hey, I want to win this game. Let's form a strategy together. So then they go into the woods, and it is there that they both see Judy and Paul making out. So later on, Paul tries to apologize to Angela about it, but then Judy comes up to him and he's like, girl, and she's like, not so fast, because you literally just called her a prude. And so, you know, being called out, he decides to run off, leaving Angela alone with Judy. Judy is to Angela, she's like, you need to go for a swim. I think you want to go for a swim. And so her and Meg, they team up and they pick her up to force her in the water. Mind you, Richard is in the same area, and Mel goes up to him. He's talking to Richard, and Richard sees that they're about to put his cousin in the water, which is very traumatizing because, like we all know, her father and her brother both died from water, and that's very terrifying for her. And so he tries to intervene, but Mel is like, no, you're the killer. Who are you gonna kill next? How are you gonna do it? And Richard is like, what are you talking about? Let me go and save my cousin. He's like, no, admit it, you're the killer. You're the killer. So he's over here trying to fight to get away from Mel, and Angela is trying to fight to not be forced in the water, but they put her in the water anyways, and Ronnie has to come intervene in order for Richard to be let go, and so he immediately goes in the water. So there's a lot of disturbing elements in this movie, but something that is not really, like, I don't think it's supposed to be meant to be disturbing. I don't know. But Meg is talking to Mel, the camp owner, and she's like, hey, I'm off today. You promised me dinner at your place. So I know they're teenagers. You could tell she's young, you know. You could tell that he's old. What is happening here? Watching 80s horror movies is so confusing because, like, I don't think they're college age. I think they're supposed to be like high schoolers, teenagers. Either way, it's pretty weird that this old man is talking to this little girl. Meg is excited to be alone with him. And so she goes to take a shower. She is caught lacking, and then she is also taken out being stabbed in the back. Oh my God, I forgot to mention. So, because it's kind of important. So when Richard saved Angela out the water, there were a bunch of kids throwing sand at her. Mind you, she's already down and traumatized. They're throwing sand at her and laughing at her. So those same kids, they are outside camping in the woods, and there is this leader, Eddie, there with them. The same night, Paul goes to Angela and he apologizes again. And so she's like, you know what? Just meet me by the water after the social event and we could just talk or whatever. So back to Eddie and the kids. Two of the kids, they end up waking up and they're like, hey, I'm cold. I want to go back to the cabin. So he's like, all right, fine, get in the car. He looks at the other kids laying in the woods and he's like, all right, they'll be fine. I'll just drop these kids off and then come back. So that's what he does. Judy is making out with some boy in her room, and then Mel comes in because he's looking for Meg, and she tells him, like, I haven't seen her since after dinner. And so he leaves, but the boy that she was with, he's like, it's not worth me getting in trouble or being caught here in your room, so I'm leaving, bye. And so she is upset that she is being rejected, and she's like, all right, you chicken shit bitch, bye. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why this scene does not make sense technically, but the explanation behind it. So someone opens the door. It's of Richard, okay? So then we see Judy getting knocked out. She gets knocked out while she was in the middle of curling her hair, and then the curling iron is forced up her, you know. So ouch. Eddie comes back from dropping off the kids and notices that the other kids have been massacred. The same kids that so, you know, here the pattern is anyone that has been messing with Angela, they are dying, including kids. And then Mel damn near kidnaps Richard. He's like, I know you're a killer, I need to stop you. So then he starts gorilla beating on Richard until he passes out. However, after Mel does that, the real killer comes and shoots an arrow through his neck, killing him. Now the police is here now. The police is here because there's obviously a killer on the loose. They're finding bodies left and right. Angela is now meeting Paul by the water, and she tells him, she's like, hey, I want to get in the water, take your clothes off. And hearing take your clothes off, that's all he needs to hear, because he's like, shit, let's go. Yeah, they find bodies, they find Meg. Richard is found. He is not dead. He wakes up from being unconscious. And Ronnie and this girl here, they go by the water where they see Angela is faced opposite from them and she has no clothes on. So the final twist of the movie was that turns out the crazy quack cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs aunt was so crazy. Angela never survived. the aunt took in Peter, but she always wanted a daughter so bad that she forced Peter to become Angela. So Angela is not Angela. Angela is Peter, and Peter is a boy. And so Angela is holding a hatchet, standing up with this creepy look on her face, and she has a whole pee-wee and it's dangling. She's bloody and her wee-wee dangling down, or their wee-wee is dangling down because she's a boy. And yeah, that's Sleepaway Camp. This movie is so short and sweet. I don't know, I just love it. I don't know, I just love this movie. It's entertaining. It's an easy watch. And yeah, this movie was slept on, and there was a lot of controversy. People thought it was exploitative, and then like they thought it was like a copycat of Friday the 13th. And this movie is nowhere near it's not the same as Friday the 13th to me. It's like a different type of vibe about it. This is not the same, to be honest. And so one scene, I had looked it up because I know for sure that we saw Richard in the doorway. So I'm like, wait, so did Richard just hurt Judy and was the rest Angela? But it turns out the actress who plays Angela, her mom did not want her to visibly be seen doing such violence, so that they had Richard take her place. So technically it was supposed to be Angela. This is just like, we're not supposed to just pay attention to that, I guess. And yeah, this is Sleepaway Camp. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe for more. And also, I am almost at 200 subscribers. I am very grateful. I can't wait to keep making content for you guys. My next video, I have something very special planned. I think you guys are gonna like it. And yeah.